Yo, family, what's good? Welcome back again to another daily live stream. A lot earlier today, I know, but I am going to be busy at the usual time. Going to be going to Wolfie's Bar to meet with the fellow Caspians for this CrossFit event, and I'm looking forward to it. So I figured I'd still get a daily live stream out for all of you here, just a little bit earlier than usual. Even then, we still have got some pretty important updates to get through in today's earlier stream. We had some very big posts regarding Vprogs. It's now public for the first time, so we can see what is taking place, and also we have got some updates regarding the geopolitical tensions, what's happening with Trump, and other stuff as well, which will all be very important for what we're looking at for how the market's going to pan out in the short and medium term. As always, family, if you enjoy the content, leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. Dimitar was here first, as always. Shout out to you, my man. I appreciate you very much. Future Crypto Elite is here, as you always are. Wait, Vprogs are out? No, Vprogs themselves aren't out, but the documentation behind Vprogs is now public, and we're going to get into that first and foremost. Welcome back, Kryptoni. You need an opener and a closer video. You mean like you saw on Blockchain Banter, we have a little intro and outro. I do need that. You're right, and I am. It's on my ever lengthening list of to-dos of getting, a better stream production type of thing. Just a little intro for people. I agree it would look a lot more sleek if I had that. So I will get onto that, Kryptoni. But thanks for the pleasant reminder, because I do need to do that. But yes, as we look at the markets right now, Bitcoin is currently trading around 89,000, down 0.4%, which is nothing too crazy right now. The markets have been kind of relatively docile, not really moving too much right now, consolidating sideways. If we go into the smaller time frame, you can see we did see quite a bit of volatility not too long ago. And this was off the back of GDP reports. We saw the market kind of trade up high, and then we saw GDP come in recently, which came in at 4.4% plus, which is a bit better than expected, and actually is the highest growth rate in 2 years. So GDP growth is good. This does negate recession fears right now, which is, always great to see. But you then see off the back of that, you saw a bit of a pullback. I think it's because people anticipate that with GDP being good, the Fed won't cut rates, which I don't get that reasoning, but investors right now, truth be told, investors aren't really looking too deeply into macro. It still matters on markets, but their whole focus still very much is on geopolitics, to which we have got some updates here from Kobe. Initial details on the Trump-Greenland deal have emerged. Apparently it involves small pockets of land for the US, and the US involved in Greenland's mineral rights. Duration of the deal had an indefinite time frame designed to block Russian influence in Greenland. The Golden Dome system will be involved. Open door to US-backed infrastructure investment, so it looks like it's an aim to secure land, minerals, and defense in one deal. Now, we'll hear more about it as time goes on. We are literally 5 days since Trump issued tariffs, or threatened the issuance of tariffs before he removed it just 2 days ago. But right now, we are seeing the markets, gold, silver still showcasing quite a lot of strength for the most part, because we are still very much in this risk-off environment. People are very worried right now about the general stance of the markets, hence why they're going to the metals, which is why you're seeing, stocks is doing well. That's being mainly driven by the likes of the tech stocks, the AI development, stuff like that. That's why they're doing well. Crypto hasn't caught up just yet, but when that sentiment shifts fully back into risk on, we'll be laughing again. And I think Kaspa's going to do very well this year, especially after what we heard from KRI on Tuesday. I have managed to dissect part of that incredible Alpha Pact podcast with me and Jer. And I'm going to make a small video that's going to be posted later today, just covering some key elements of that. And I'll make a 2-parter to that as well. But I think Kaspa's going to do very well. And actually, that's off the back of all this geopolitical stuff that's happening. These uncertainties, these tensions are causing institutions to want to push more towards sustainable and secure markets, infrastructure, which right now nothing could really have that unless you basically have centralized entities that you're trusting to do that, or you do it with Kaspa. So, but we'll get in a bit more into that later on. Either way, Kaspa's currently down 2.26%, not ideal. Understandably, Kaspa's showing quite a bit of weakness today, and it's once more following Bitcoin, although it's showing a bit more weakness than usual. It is still hovering above that 4-cent zone, which does seem to be quite a nice level of support for Kaspa. I wouldn't call it a critical level. Personally, we can see there are multiple occasions where Kaspa has touched 4 cents and either found some areas of support and rebounded, or in the case we did blow past that here. So it is a definitely good level of support, but for me, losing 4.1 was a bit more critical, and then you got down here at 3.6. So 3.6 is still very much on the cards for me, not to shine a FUD or negativity on Kaspa. It's just looking at the markets objectively. I think 3.6 is still possible. It does depend on whether Bitcoin starts finding stability. If Bitcoin hovers around this zone for the next few days, I think Kaspa will be okay, and it'll probably hover around 4 cents. If Bitcoin starts showing weakness and starts correcting in the support zones to around 86 or, God forbid, 84k again, then we probably will see Kaspa push towards 3.6 cents again, which will be something we talk about at the time. This, for me, I'm not worried about the price. I actually had a discussion with Devious earlier in the free Discord server, where he was just kind of talking about a recent video that came out from Freeman, and the concerns over Kaspa and its lack of adoption and volume, which are valid concerns that we are all perfectly aware of. But I just attributed all of the information that he said to, well, KRI are a much bigger entity and deal than we actually realize. They're a very, very big deal. What they are doing with Kaspa is significant, and that was explained in detail in the podcast on Tuesday, which is why my belief in Kaspa is still very, very strong. And we're not ever going to really see, that's the kind of the issue with the retail side of things. We're not going to ever really see what KRI are doing, because they're for enterprises only. There will be some stuff we will end up seeing, but they'll eventually open their GitHub, make it public so we can see what they're doing. But for the most part, it's all closed off just for their institutional buddies. But the volume they can handle, when you think about the institutional backing they have, like SGCC, $500 billion annually they have a month, like the amount of volume they can onboard is significantly more than likes of Binance could do. So the markets that, and that the help of KRI could be a big turning point for Kaspa. So I'm not worried in regard to the price right now. And as geopolitical tensions continue to rise, that for me also sets a better foundation and precedent for Kaspa to take over as well, in the growing need for a global infrastructure that is decentralized, that is not going to get impacted by geopolitical tensions, which is everything else would do. If you were to have Ripple and XRP that's based in America, you're not going to have other people wanting to use that, Same for XLM, they're all centralized entities. Now, we have just heard, as we are now going live, the core PCE has just come out, which come out as expected. So it means that inflation right now is remaining sticky. It's still a little higher than the Fed want it to be. Of course, the true inflation is around 1.5, 1.3%, but according to the metrics that the Fed actually use, it's above 2%. It's around 2.7, 2.8. Let me quickly double check to see what I put last month. PCE is in and around, it is around 2.4. Oh no, that's right. It was. Am I tweaking right now? I'm very much tweaking right now. 2.9. 2.9. So inflation, it looks in and around 2.9-ish. So it's still hot, but it's not coming down. Which, it's not going to be great necessarily for the incentivize the Fed to cut rates. Rate cut odds for the incoming FOMC meeting in 6 days is very, very unlikely. And I don't think we should expect rate cuts in the immediate short term. I think what we should be hopeful for is that Jerome Powell will cut rates once, best case twice, before his term ends in May. If we can get one rate cut before he leaves, that'd be great. 2, fantastic. But I would not, from the research that I've looked into, institutional analysts are predicting 0 rate cuts leading up to May, and then Jerome Powell leaves, and then you see someone else come in, and then they are starting to really hammer in those rate cuts and get the economy to start pushing risk on again. But these reports, this is a positive development here, which is great, and God forbid it gets worse again and the markets go down. That does actually have benefits to Kaspa and what KRI are doing. And then seeing these reports coming as well, also being expectations, is also reassuring as well. So macro side of things look, people honestly, in all honesty, macro almost doesn't really matter right now. It doesn't. The reports are either at expected or slightly below, but they're not doing anything significant enough to cause any real concern for investors. What matters right now literally is all about this. It's all about geopolitical tensions right now. That's all that matters. And we have just looked through a document, me and my VIPs, that suggests there could be another cause for concern coming through soon. If you want to find out what that is, the report is already posted a short little few lines in the VIP community, talking about a potential pivot from Trump in regards to more geopolitical tensions. So headwinds are still very much on the cards, which just for me creates a better DC opportunity in Kaspa and the cryptos that we're looking at, because there are multiple assets we're looking at. CZ stated at Davos that tokenization, payments, and AI agents are the key future themes. And he's not incorrect there. He's right. That's why we are looking at that in our VIP community as well. Powell's one of the ones we've been talking about a lot recently. Of course, very, very small assets, so highly volatile, it's currently down 22%. But for those of us who looked into it and we heard about it early on from the beginning of this year, for example, we have seen a significant rally in Powell. Currently, if you were to hold it the whole time, it's up about 2, almost 3x in value, 172%. From its actual peak, you're looking at 361, so a 4.5x in value. And we're still early on in the AI trend. It's going to continue to rally up throughout this year. Render's coming at 1.62, which is great for Render. You've got Tau, that's also kind of holding strong in and around 237. And then many other AI agents we're looking at as well, and AI projects that I think will perform very well. Quant's also doing relatively well, albeit not moving much today, which is interesting to see. I'm not too surprised by that, given what their reach is and the connections they currently have, and their seemingly use case and interoperability, that overledger connecting the banks together. But we'll see how that pans out when the markets actually make that push towards risk on, and these assets actually have therefore the liquidity needed to start running again. Maybe like music in the background of this and Blockchain Banter 2. Yeah, I will have a look into doing that. The only thing with music in the background is whether I have music in the background so it picks up on my mic here, or whether I have it playing through the computer, which, I mean, either are possible, but it's then trying to really work the sound. And also music, YouTube are very funny about music. I'll be honest, YouTube are very funny. Sometimes even if you go through copyright-free music, YouTube still penalize you. So it's very, very hard to find tracks that are eligible to go on YouTube. I'll have a look into it, because I do think that would also help in just keeping the mellow mood and engagement through these streams and the content that we do. Intros and outros, I couldn't agree more, definitely to do that. And we'll see what more we can do when I get around to it, basically. His streams are great. People only care about the info, not the fluff. Yeah, I appreciate you very much, Rizzy, and that's ultimately what I tried to do. You know, I tried to bring some form of information, clarity, understanding of what's happening in this space. Of course, there'll be the occasional speculative FOMO, you know, oh my god sort of event, right? But I ultimately try to bring knowledge, because this is the education to what ultimately is important. I'm still long-term bullish in this market and in Kaspa, but it's the upcoming developments that allow us to know when the market's going to move and how to position ourselves accordingly. And yeah, FOMC in 6 days, I don't think we should expect rate cuts. CME suggests right now that we're not going to see rate cuts. 95% chance we're not going to see rate cuts, so, and I'm not surprised. If we look through the macro reports we've seen through this month, they're all either at expected. There haven't been any bad macro reports, which is good. They've all been at expected or slightly lower, but therefore there's no incentive for the Fed to cut rates then, because the economy is, the inflation, according to their metrics, the inflation is still quite high and unemployment is still quite high. But if they start cutting rates, inflation goes up, and they can't, even though they're focusing more on the job reports right now, they don't want to have inflation go out of control. And truth be told, with the general understanding that when the new Fed chair comes in, they will start cutting rates because that's what Trump wants, I would not be surprised to see Jerome Powell hold off as long as possible to save the economy. Whether he's too late or not, you know, we could all debate that. But yeah, I don't think we'll see rate cuts this month. I could be wrong. I mean, the markets could be wrong, but right now it's a high chance we won't be seeing rate cuts. Good morning, Beebs. Been a minute. You're doing very, very well. And you too, Octopus. Trump reiterated at Davos that he is pushing for Congress to pass crypto market structure legislation very soon, stepping it as part of the making America the crypto capital of the world. Yeah, he said that, but we want to update about that as well here as well. It looks like those extra 2 weeks of negotiations to get Dems to sign on officially were fruitless, and next week's Senate markup is shaping up to be partisan, not bipartisan, which is not what you want. So it's not a great sign for the Senate, which is likely hoping for a bipartisan deal to smooth its own markup. So we hear the schedule released tonight, but it's all well and good Trump saying that, and he's not incorrect in saying that. They are aiming to pass the bill to make America the capital of the world for crypto, but it's the Senate. These are the people who are currently the ones who are negotiating and working it together. Trump can say whatever he wants. We're going to make crypto the capital of the world. We're going to get the market to pass through soon. Soon is a literal filler word to kind of keep people, like dangling bait in front of people. I'm not saying he's doing it in a negative sense, but the reason why I don't say market structure coming soon is because the evidence there does not say it's coming soon. Well, it depends also on your time frame of soon. Soon could be sometime in the summer. So I'll perceive soon as in a few weeks. That's how, if I was to say soon, I'm thinking few weeks, month, 2 months max. Market structure could very well take another few months. It also could very well shape the midterm elections. Trump will want it to pop before the midterms end, that's most definite. Whether he'll be able to do that or not will depend right now, because Dems and Republicans are not seeing eye to eye right now. Dems want banks to have more control, and they're also kind of doing it because they just don't want to have. They're not getting along with Trump at all right now. So he did say that, but you got to try not to take everything that Trump says at face value. And that's been evident right now with tariffs as well. Think about the tariffs in the last few days. The last few days for tariffs, you've seen Falco with another 5 gifted memberships. Bro, you are a legend for that. Thank you very much. Shout out to you once more. And there you go. Magic Mark, SY Daily, Adam Bates, Next Level Cash, and Lightpath. You 5 lucky individuals there have now received a membership courtesy of Falco, which is fantastic stuff. And you'll be happy to know I'm going to try and make it a more reoccurring theme as well. Of course, we do our weekly live streams, our roundtables in the VIP. We do provide the executive institutional insights. Basically, what we do in these streams daily, we do it in a lot more deep down and much more in depth every single week on a Sunday. This week, we should be posting this one to members as well. So those who have a membership, you're able to see the sort of content that we provide to the VIP, just a small element of that. And if you want to get more of that sort of stuff, then you can welcome to sign up. And all the links to that will be available in the Discord server, in the descriptions, and wherever else you can find it as well. What was I saying? Yeah, the tariffs right now. With Trump right now, he issued tariffs on 8 European countries on Saturday. We are now sitting on Thursday, 5 days later, and he's already removed them. Now, it could have been done in a quick fashion because he issued tariffs, then you had a negotiation come through and they've removed them, fine. But the fact of the matter is he issued the tariffs and he's already come back on that. So don't take everything that Trump says at face value. It will impact markets, most definitely. It will impact markets. So we've got to keep that in mind. You can't ignore them, but when Trump says crypto market structure bill coming soon, look at the people who are actually working on it. All Trump does is sign it in. Obviously his administration is helping to try and get it through, but all Trump does is sign it in. It comes down to this. I would pay a much closer mind to people like Eleanor Terrett for the developments of the market structure, because she will give she's a journalist and she's very closely connected to a lot of these people. She'll give a much deeper rundown on what's been spoken about, and we'll talk about it in these streams and in the content about when they're coming through as well. But that being said, let's get into some of the content. Welcome back, Brett. Not sure about music in the background, maybe intro. Okay, well, intro is definitely, I'll put that on my list to do, or it's already on my list to do, but I'll make sure to push it up the list to get an intro. I'll see if I can reach out to some people and get something formulated. But yeah, I'll have a look into that. Do you think Coinbase Binance feels threatened by Kaspa in a sense? I don't think threatened's the right word. I don't think they care. I think in the future to be, they could feel threatened. Wouldn't put it past it. Right now, I don't think they care at all. I think they'll feel threatened once Kaspa grows and KRI helps in that element as well, because I mean, they're going to have to sign on at that point, realistically speaking. But no, I think right now setting's not the right word. I think they just don't care, but they will force setting in the future. No music, please. It's torture, distraction, torture. Okay, right. Intro, fine. Maybe outro, but no music. Got it. Shall keep that in mind. I think they may discuss QE in the next meeting or one after that. It depends. It depends, because right now GDP is showing growth. I don't think this Fed issues QE. I think the next Fed, after May, when Jerome Powell leaves, they issue QE. I don't think this Fed issues QE. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong, but I don't think they do, because Jerome Powell doesn't want to. He's trying to thread the needle in such a unique way. I don't think he issues QE at all. I think he might cut rates once, maybe 2 more times, if we're lucky, in the next 3 or 4 or 5 months, but I don't think he issues QE. But anyways, before we get into more of the questions, welcome back, Falco. And yes, thank you very much again for the member gifts, and shout out to those who obviously won. I appreciate it very, very much. Before we get to more of the questions, let's get into some of the big content. We already covered the current geopolitical updates and also the GDP growth, the positive signs that currently the economy is, I guess, a bit on a mends. Still very much in a risk-off environment, but we're doing a bit better now, which is good. Welcome back, Greg. Bro, you're doing very, very well, my man. Now we've got this post here, which is the title of today's stream, talking about Vprogs. Now, to reiterate, Vprogs are not live, but they're public, meaning that the documentation around it is now available. They're not live by any means, but we're getting one step closer. So, as Wolfie highlighted here, a rundown. The Vprog right here. The Vprog on the GitHub is right here. Courtesy of Hans Moog, shout out to you. And apparently, we say apparently, we can see it here. Go onto the GitHub, you can see one issue has already been raised, which is actually good news. Hans said that here as well. We already have our first issue and a corresponding fix. This community is really crazy. It's a community effort to help in the development and building of Vprogs right now. That's what's happening. That's what's taking place in Kaspa right now. And we have seen already. Here's the issue. Now, I don't understand what this means, but the premise being is you're seeing people actively participate to help in the development of Kaspa. That's the benefit of an open source project. And, you know, Hans here, they're absolutely right, which is great stuff. So they're going to focus on that as well. So this is great stuff to see people communicating, participating to help in the development of Vprogs, and it's only going to get out sooner as well. So we've got to be happy about that. But we can see here in the summary here from Wolfie regarding Hans. Vprogs is Kaspa's new Rust-based framework for off-chain execution, on-chain verification, using ZK proofs to add powerful smart contract-like logic without turning layer 1s into an EVM-style execution chain. Hans Moog's post is highlighting that a newly public Rust repo is a concrete implementation of this architecture, structured specifically to unlock massive parallelism and avoid the usual Amdahl's law bottleneck of global VM chains. So a little summary here of what Vprogs are, which we kind of should already know, but if not, for reference, I'll be linking this post in my free Discord server. So you want to tune into that, a place where you could just a kind of a a community where information is posted in there frequently. So in the instances where you can't always tune into the live streams, you just want to have information kind of on a more real-time sense, the community there for you, the free Discord server. Come chill chat, learn more about Kaspa, about crypto, and communicate with people. Ask any questions you want, and just learn more together effectively. But yeah, I'll put it in the Discord server. You can see what it's about here, what it targets as well, the DEXs, the DAOs, escrows, and complex constraints directly anchored to the layer 1. And here it goes into the architecture as well. The repo is layered Rust mono repo, so core to storage to state to scheduling to transaction runtime to node, with dependencies only flowing downward. More so about as well. Design mirrors the ISO OSI style, which is also really important. We heard about why ISO is so big in Tuesday's podcast with Blockchain Banter Media with KRI. And then we've got the part here. So why is Han talking about Amdahl's law? Amdahl's law bites global VM chains because a single sterilized execution order or shared global state caps parallel speed up, even if you add more cores or nodes. So Vprogs is a kind of fix to the issue that comes with bottlenecking. Instead, Vprogs executes as a compute DAG. Independent scopes programs can be proven and scheduled in parallel, while the dependencies are explicitly tracked and stitched into a single verifiable commitment on the layer 1. By pushing execution and scheduling into the DAG of scope programming, Kaspa aims to synchronously composability without a central conductor. Long short of it is, the Amdahl law in regards to global virtual machine chains, so talking the EVM, the Solana VM, Sui, these other virtual machines, they all have a bottleneck feature. That's how they've been constructed, because they're a blockchain. They don't do things in parallel, so it bottlenecks. Vprogs are able to do the very same thing on the block DAG, and therefore because it's doing it in parallel, that bottleneck is removed effectively, or the possibility of bottleneck is significantly decreased. So how they're different from, you got it here. So there are no shared global execution virtual machines. Programs are self-contained, each with its own state and gas, and interact via ZK verified dependencies rather than arbitrary re-entrancy into one huge state. Composability is maintained at layer 1 via proof stitching and at the computation DAG, so cross-app flows can remain atomic without fragmenting liquidity across separate rollups or app chains, and it keeps full nodes lean, which means things are going to be faster, less messy, and therefore a lot easier to use as well. So this is a really, really good thing to see, that we're already seeing the core framework for Vprogs being issued. The fact that we had this discussion back in December about how Vprogs could very well be live in the next 6 months was a very audacious timeline. Very audacious. And many people, even myself, in full honesty, couldn't realize that Vprogs could come that soon. We had a yellow paper not that long back. Yellow paper, and it's a first edition of such. We are very early in Vprogs. And Shai, rightly so, said that it would take a few years, and it might do. But we heard Crypto Aspect, we heard Hans, we heard Michael Sutton, all these people who are working on the Vprogs say that it's a very, very good chance we see it sooner, because Vprogs has actually been in concept in work since after 10 BPS. So we're talking May 2025. And now you're seeing the first edition being public. Understanding of Vprogs, so you're getting people already, putting issues down, which is great to see as well. You've got some pull requests here as well. This is really cool stuff to see. That we already got early stage of Vprogs here. In the post from Hans himself, Luke summarizes the key point here. With Kaspa, we have the benefit of being late. Sounds weird to say that, but we have the benefit of being late. In fact, we are so late that we arrive at the party when almost all the research has already been done. So we can skip the archaeology and just make the perfect baby, making the final breakthrough on our quest for perfection. Another way of, putting that down is we are so late to the party that while everyone's already, completely drunk and off their head, whatever they're on, whatever they're doing, making out with whoever the hell they're making out of this frat party, whatever it is, Kaspa's turned up as the oh, okay, I'm the designated driver. I will help fix this issue. I hope everyone get home safely. In regards to the crypto space and finance as a whole. That's how I perceive that. That's that power class doing from Hans Bug there. Vprogs is a key step towards that. KRI are very excited about that. This is where the real fun starts. And again, we're already seeing corresponding fixes and first issues being raised. And hopefully we'll see many, hopefully we do see many, many more. There's nothing wrong with seeing issues. And frankly, the more issues you see, the more complete it can be, because it's very, very rare for you to create something that's great in the first release. The fact that 10 BPS, it had a lot of fine tuning, of course, but the fact that 10 BPS went public on the mainnet and there were 0 issues to date, there's still not a single issue of 10 BPS, is a massive feat, a huge accomplishment. These issues are what we need to see so we can help continue to benefit, to refine what is being built on Kaspa, and we'll see this come through very, very soon. The developers on Kaspa right now are actually going crazy. Hans, Ezio's done some amazing stuff as well. These are the people who have come on board more recently, and then you've got the core as well, Aspect, Sutton, Sompolinsky, all the people who are doing so much work right now. So this is fantastic news to see, and does reinstate my belief in Kaspa, especially hearing what we heard on Tuesday with the KRI about the necessity for Kaspa in the infrastructure, especially in the energy markets as well, We have it here from Rizzy saying, core Mr. Binance are not intimidated by Kaspa. this is a baseless narrative. I think it's a good tech, but they will invest. It's not crushing like Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, the way I perceive it is Coinbase and Binance definitely are not intimidated by Kaspa. They're ignoring it, and eventually they might decide they want to actually invest into it. But yeah, I don't think intimidate. I mean, yeah, threat is not the right word. Kaspa is a threat to finance and how the centralized system works in general, but I don't think these people currently feel threatened by it because it's too small to be threatened by. It's too small. But that will hopefully change soon enough. Do you believe Trump was strong armed by the EU? They said bring the tariffs, will dump our US Treasury totaling over the trillion taco. It's a great question. I think yes. I think elements of that is correct. And that's why, based on the research that I've just put into the VIP, we think there's going to be a retaliation of sorts soon. Which, yeah, I'm gonna. There's something we're going to be keeping a very, very close eye on right now because of because Davos was not as I guess successful, if you will, in the eyes of Trump and his administration. And yeah, the strong arming was not in their best interest either. Probably also why you saw the taco, where he reverted the tariffs, possible. Long and short of it is, yes, I do think that I don't think that was the whole reason. I do think negotiation did. I mean, this seems to be the case right now with negotiations. So I think there was some form of agreement that got reached thanks to the tariffs being implemented. So I think it did work partly as intended. But I think the EU standing very, very strong and not budging at all did make, the retreat a bit earlier. But I think there's going to be a retaliation on that. I don't think we are out of the water just yet, or out of the woods just yet, which is what we're looking into. If you want to find out more, especially in regards to what it is we're talking about, we literally just posted some institutional research from Rockefeller, which Rockefeller, for your information, they have served as a risk manager and trader for Citibank, so one of the big four banks and other major financial institutions, and they basically just said that we could see a retaliation of sorts soon. And you want to find out who will be the target of that and how it could impact markets, you can stay up to date frequently in the VIP. We post that stuff now a lot more frequently, pretty much daily now. Updates on what's happening in the market and what we should be prepared for. And also the assets that we're looking into in question as well. Right here. Hey bro, Jay's making big moves. The next Van Banter. I hope you're the next bit boy. Trust me, I will not be a bit boy. I've got too many more to be a bit boy. Not happening. But I appreciate it very, very much. Yeah, only on and up from here. I'm looking forward to what's coming next. Dumping US Treasuries. For what though? Chinese? I mean, yeah, I don't know what either. But there was a lot of reports suggesting that the move from Trump about the tariffs did accelerate de-dollarization because people are having less and less faith in the stability of the United States when Trump is issuing tariffs every single time to get his way. So I don't know what they switch it for, whether it's China or Japan. Probably not Japan right now. Japan's in the bin. But de-dollarization is accelerating. And that does, in a sense, benefit crypto and Kaspa as well. Right now, we are seeing the dollar rally against Japan yen. We're seeing euro rally against the dollar and pound sterling rally against the dollar right now. The pound sterling is actually, yeah. So de-dollarization is accelerating. We'll see where it goes from here, though. Welcome back, baby daddy man. You're doing very, very well, my man. Great B blockchain banter Tuesday. I was not prepared for Roy to talk so much. I ran out of rah. Okay, almost said that. yeah, I know, right? I mean, me and Pumps were very excited for that, and we are also very, very well aware that when we get Rory on board, we'll be there with you lot talking for a long time. We knew we'd be there for hours. And we'd do it again happily. There'll be another time that Roy comes on. I'm so confident in that, Matt. So we'll see that again. And whether you know it or not as well, after the blockchain banter stream ended around 11:30 p.m. in UK time, me Pumps were just talking to Rory and Envy for another like 2 hours after that, just chatting. So I was talking in this for like 4 + 5 hours. It was insane. I was so tired, but I would do it again. It was unbelievable. What we spoke about stuff, on the stream, because that's all we didn't speak about anything off stream that we didn't already know about anyways. And welcome, SY Daily. You're doing very well, man. Kaspa is not a threat to the exchanges. They make money on trade. If the project has volume, they'll be crazy not to list it. Think like a businessman. Yeah, true. One thing that I was talking to Divas about earlier as well is you've got to understand that in the instance of KRI and what they're doing, which is fantastic, the volume won't appear on CMC. It won't, because they're going to be doing it with enterprises, not going to be on public exchanges. What CMC tracks is volume on the exchanges, the Binances, the Coinbases, the Bybits, the HTXs. They don't track what's happening on other platforms and chains, like ZTX that will eventually be up and running. They won't track that at all. So, yeah, these exchanges are inclined to want to list a project, either if they're paid, which most of the time they list if they're paid. That's why memes do so well. And also, I saw a post in regards to like why certain memes have higher volume than Kaspa. Well, for one, they're memes. They're meant to be traded. They're not investments. They're memes. But also, most of these memes pay their way into a big exchange, and the big exchange gave them more volume. If Kaspa was listed on Binance, its average of 30, 40 million volume would significantly increase. It's still not in their best interest right now to list Kaspa because its volume is so low. Volume right now hovering at around, when it loads, 22, almost 23 million. So it's very low. If Binance was to list Kaspa, that'd probably jump up to 60. Still low, but it jump up a bit more so. But yeah, these exchanges are not inclined to list Kaspa when the volume's down. But if they see that Kaspa is garnering a lot of attention and institutional interest, that could change their sentiment. Or if someone pays them. But the people who are most likely to pay Binance for listing would be KF, and they said they're not doing it, which I don't disagree with. I think HTX, if they asked for a lot less, was okay, and HTX seemingly done quite well for Kaspa in regards to being one of the higher exchanges for volume. See there, 21%. HTX seems to dominate right now in the volume for Kaspa, so it was definitely a good play in that regard, being an exchange that actively trades Kaspa. But yeah, I think we just gotta wait. Binance, they'll come whenever. The idea of Binance and Coinbase is almost out of my mind by this point. I wouldn't say I don't care, because that's not true. But I think they're important, of course, and they help the price. But I don't think it's worth to sleep over anymore. We cannot understand why at this point they're not going to list Kaspa until the volume's high or they're paid, and most likely it's the latter anyway. So I think you could see a lot of movement in the cycle regardless through midterms when you see that sentiment shift to risk on. I think Kaspa will perform very well given the projects coming out. IGRA could be a big catalyst for that as well, so I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of IGRA, actually, they had some they're cooking. Something's happening right now on their closed mainnet. They're doing a lot of stuff. You're seeing a lot of transactions right now, so we'll see if we can find out more soon enough as well. But this is great news to see as well. But yeah, before we get into some more of the questions, I want to quickly go into this part here. So we've seen in this post here from Kobe Celesta that Ondu Finance has launched a 200 plus tokenized stocks, ETF bonds, and commodities on Solana as they push towards tokenization, which accelerates, which is great. So stocks include Nvidia, Amazon, Walmart, and Meta. So this is huge, proving that we're bridging that gap between TradFi and DeFi. We're seeing stocks being tokenized on a blockchain. That is a very big step of what BlackRock wants as well. So this is a great step. Cannot complain on that as well. And the number of tokenized assets on Solana increased by just 400%. So that's fantastic news. Nothing wrong with that. And it came just 2 days after NYSE, so they do the very same thing. So Wall Street is moving on chain. This is proof that crypto is not going to die. It's going to continue to explode more and more and more. And you could right now, I mean, Solana is not moving much today based on that, because these developments are huge. This is also further proof. FOMO does not matter anymore. It doesn't. That's a great development, great news. You need to see the adoption continue to rally up and accumulate and grow. That was 2, 3, 4 years ago. That would have caused Solana to, rocket or, significantly increase in value. It does nothing. we're currently down because right now what matters is the macro or more so geopolitical than the individual project announcements. That's why when I think Vprogs coming up for Kaspa is huge, IGWA coming up for Kaspa is huge, these won't necessarily cause price pumps because the markets follow geopolitical tensions. That's how it works right now. But either way, that's huge news. But in saying that, KRI have their work to say, which is very, very valid. It's great news seeing this, fantastic news, until the network falls over again. How many times have we seen Solana go down? How many times? We've seen congestion, crashes, goes down. Kaspa has a 100% uptime, it's more scalable, more secure, and faster than the likes of Solana. And in response to this one as well, what if every major IPO is available on Solana meets Monday? They said trading would come to a halt while you restart your system. You know, love the little digs from KRI, and it's the fact of the matter being is every single system right now in this space, they have their benefits, and I hold some of these assets. I'm not saying that they're crap. I hold some of them. I see the benefits in them, especially as a way to, make gains. Solana, for example, one of the top 5, top 6 assets. It's huge. So it's going to do well the cycle. It's got ETF filings as well. It's going to perform well. That's inevitable. So I would not be against hedging and putting some money into Solana. My own opinion, not financial advice, of course, but that's evident for me. The thing is, these are very apparent issues. They're not incorrect. And when these do end up manifesting and these issues happen, that'll cause a crash because then these Wall Street are trying to utilize Solana and it's going down because they cannot handle the network. The bandwidth. The only system right now that can handle without bottlenecking is Kaspa. Only one that's been proven as such so far. And we'll see it be proved more so as well going forward. Ethereum's had issues, Solana had issues, XRP had issues, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that is something I also just wanted to highlight as well. So we are seeing a great step towards crypto adoption in Wall Street. For me, another big proof and reason why this year is going to be huge. There'll be a lot of volatility, a lot of it, but this year should be huge. It's just a case of biding our time and waiting. But Vprogs, this is very big news. Solana going live is huge, but we'll see how that manifests and goes forward. It's going to be a big year for AI. That's why we're looking at AI as well. This will cause a bit of a delay. Got to keep a close mind on all of this sort of stuff. Again, we'll talk about this more throughout the days, and you can find out a lot more in much more depth in real time in our VIP community, posting documentation about what's happening, the actual more in-depth stuff we talk about in these streams daily, basically, but in a lot more depth. We post documents in there frequently. Our weekly live streams also go into more depth as well about the market sentiment and where we should be going from here. So far, we have been very, very accurate in market trends and movements. We have predicted Kaspa will come down to this level here based on the geopolitical tensions that happened on Saturday. And we're keeping a close eye on where it goes from here. If we see it continue to grow, we could see Kaspa coming down, with Bitcoin coming down to the zone here, means Kaspa comes down as well. We'll have a close eye on our other assets we're holding as well. Be it Ondu, Zebek, Tau, Render. You've got Virtuals, POW. POW's actually made a bit of a recovery. Once again, touching that golden pocket. Stuff that we spoke about on stream, but also mentioned in the VIP. I don't always use retracements, but they have their benefits, and this is one of the benefits. 2 times it touched the golden pocket and then rebounded off that. So good to see we were correct there. Yeah, Saturn's not it's the wrong choice of words, but they will feel an element of it, I'm sure, when Kaspa grows more. It's like saying Amazon are intimidated by Coca-Cola because they offer their own brand of Coca-Cola. Yeah, I don't think you're incorrect in saying if Binance and Coinbase feel threatened. It's just the wrong word. I do agree with the general sentiment, though, that they could end up feeling like they missed out, because it's not much of being threatened. Because long and short of it is, they could just pivot their systems to be on top of Kaspa and then continue making business. Of course, they make business in their own respective ways on Ethereum, on BNB. But if you have these systems having issues and getting bottlenecked, then these exchanges will also go down. So Kaspa, therefore, is the solution to that. Binance profits of BNB are in the low single digits. A majority of their gains are from transaction fees. Bitcoin makes them 50 times more money than BNB does. Yeah, that's why there's an incentive for them to change to somewhere else if need be in the future. But yeah, the talk on Coinbase and Binance, you know, that'll come when it comes, right? But I don't think it's worth being too held up on it. I think what's more important right now for the markets is, I think what we need to care about more so for the markets right now is geopolitics. Keep a close eye on that. Individual project announcements, they're also beneficial because they help set up foundation. So when the markets do see volatility and volume again, that'll help them when they start rallying. If you see, you know, if Kaspa didn't have everything coming out for it and the market started pumping, Kaspa would probably be a bit lackluster, because you're seeing big ecosystem updates coming through in Vprogs, in IGRA, in Casplex, you know, and a potential hard fork coming through. This for me is like, okay, well, this is quite good. So when the market does return, Kaspa has a sort of better foundation, so it should help it push up higher. So geopolitics, macro is still important, albeit not as much right now. Project developments, what exchanges do are, I wouldn't say irrelevant, but they shouldn't take any real space in your mind right now. It should be kind of the last thought. If Binance hits Kaspa tomorrow, of course I will talk about it and it'll be big news. But it is just, it's not a priority. It's not a priority right now. The priority is the building. That's why KRI are holding Kaspa, and why they're building on Kaspa, because they love the tech. These institutions, they don't care about the price. They care about the tech. We retail care about the price because we want our money to go up. And don't get me wrong, SGCC, PwC, they do care about the price, of course, but they understand that if tech is innovative and solves real issues, this correlates to a price rally once it's adopted. So their focus right now is getting their tech adopted and utilized. That will help in this price. That's why Walk out in a sandbox environment. That's why you've got GeoSeal currently live and active, which is massive. And you've got more coming out, ZTEX, Gigawatt, Olive Chain, which GeoSeal helps with Olive Chain as well. So these are big things that will help on the price going forward. They'll take a while. Adoption takes a while, but they're starting to manifest now. And you'll hear in the video that I post later on why it's such a big deal and how long we've got to wait. Lock up your Kaspa safely. Yeah, and that's also quite big news. A lot of the Kaspa we see right now, which is part of the issue as well, why you're not seeing issues in this Kaspa, is because a lot of people who hold Kaspa, they've got it in a cold storage and they just left. They left it. They done what you do with Bitcoin back in the day. They bought a lot of Bitcoin. Like, okay, cool. Forget about it now. I'm going to live my life. Because they have belief in Kaspa, but they don't need to check it every day. They're not trading it. They're just holding it as a long term. Not good for trading. Not good for exchange listings at all, but conviction is still at all-time high for Kaspa. You can check that out. If you look at what's the website? Kaspa Lytics. There you go. We go to active addresses. No, not that one. Inactive supply. 3 months. So pretty much near all-time highs. 6 months, all-time highs. 1 year, all-time highs. 2 years, all-time highs. 3 years, all-time highs. 4 years. So people who have been holding, like, they're just holding. It's just holding and holding. Only people who've been moving Kaspa around, pretty much those who've been buying and selling like traders in the last 3 months, doing swing trading. Even then, it's still near all-time high. People are just holding for the long term. And you have a look at Kaspa Lens. We did see Kaspa Stream. We saw some outflows, I think, from Wallet 1, which is quite surprising. But it happens. That was yesterday, I believe. Yeah, 3.3 mil outflows to Bitvava apparently, but still stacking a lot, still holding 1.3 billion Kaspa. The balance would be disproportionate hurt Europe, so I guess they're willing to sell themselves to China and Russia. It'd be fine. I don't know if Russia's in question there. I mean, I don't disagree, Falco, but ultimately, if you are holding US treasuries and they are literally bullying and doing everything they can to try and get their way, are you going to want to support them? Like, at that point, you could think of it from their mindset as choosing lesser between two evils. I'm not saying that Trump's evil, so don't take it out of context. But if they're holding US treasuries, and you know, right now Trump's trying to bully his way with tariffs all the time, and they're meant to be an ally as well, as a part of NATO, they're like, well, why are we helping America out by holding their treasuries then? while it's going to impact us by selling them, choose the lesser of two evils or equal, whatever it may be, and then it goes somewhere else. It's just food for thought. I'm not saying that's actually what's happening. The premise being right now is that geopolitical tensions are really, really high. Europe is in a very delicate spot right now. Frankly, the whole economy is in a very delicate spot right now. And the more these tensions continue to rally, the worse it will get, which actually benefits Kaspa. And stay tuned. In about an hour and a half from now, you'll see the video go live, which explains what we heard about on Tuesday and why it's a big deal. Welcome back, Lau, man. You're doing very, very well, my man. I can't see us going anywhere lower now. What do I think about that? I think we lose 4 cents. Or should I say it's a possibility as such, not financial advice, of course. I think we can lose 4 cents. I think we can return to here. I think the lowest Kaspa should go is 2.7. If I was to hazard a guess, I think that's the lower Kaspa goes to the top of that level down here. That's the lowest I think Kaspa can go. But it depends. It's all very dependent on Bitcoin right now. If Bitcoin makes a move like it did on Liberation Day, where it comes back to 74k, then yes. If Bitcoin holds strong, or even just comes down a little bit to here, then we'll be fine. But the more Bitcoin corrects, the more the market corrects, the more liquidity comes out of Kaspa as well. Kaspa's not its own market just yet. That'll happen in time. Corpus of Binance waiting for the right time to list because of the fair launch model. Maybe. I'm not as, my belief in that is not as strong right now. I think I would not be surprised if both of those two exchanges are holding Kaspa. I think they could be holding Kaspa, but they're not inclined to list it right now because volume is low and there's no, like, why would you list a project right now unless you're paid? Truth be told. The markets are not good. The volatility in crypto risk on is really, really low. There is no incentive right now for a listing at all, unless you're paid to do so. So you can't expect a listing right now. If the markets are really, really hot and volatile, then you can start expecting listings coming through, because then there's an incentive, because you can capitalize on that momentum that's already growing. If capital returns to 500 million volume and it's staying there consistently for like weeks on end, then Binance will be like, oh, you know what? If we list, it got up to 1 billion. Worth it. Hypothetically, of course. So yeah, there's no incentive for them to list it right now, but even then, they might just wait for being paid if they ever want to get paid, but we'll see. Kaspa will end up king of crypto. If you know, you know. 100%. Trump's unironically the worst thing that's happened to crypto price-wise. What do I think about that? Don't really know. Because at the end of the day, you can't really make a prediction or statement on it, because the other side of the coin would have been the Democrats and Kamala Harris getting in power. But we don't know what would have happened. We can speculate, of course, but we don't know what would have happened. Of course, since Trump got in power, you saw this to that in crypto. And we ended 2025 down, which is surprising because it's meant to be one of the big years as well. So, yes. And it doesn't help when Trump launched like meme coin stuff as well, so it doesn't help, of course. But would it be better under the Democrats? I can say for quite a lot of certainty that if Dems got in power, this pump here might not have been as big. It might have been maybe up to here at most. And I also can say that the bills we've been trying to see coming out, the stablecoin bill, which came out last year and is now being implemented, and then the cloud they're still being negotiated on, they wouldn't be out yet. Stablecoin bill, actually, you heard the Democrats try to revert the changes on it. It's already been signed into law, and they tried to call it back to make changes on it. So I think if Dems got in power, those bills would have been delayed more so. You would have seen probably less geopolitical tensions, which would result in less volatility. But the developments that would really kickstart crypto, the bills, the policies, they wouldn't be implemented, which Trump has got them implemented at least. So it's trying to understand exactly, it's trying to weigh up geopolitics with bills as opposed to no geopolitics with no bills. And therefore the market is focusing on macro, which the macro has not been that great either until more recently. You would have seen a lot less volatility most definitely, but I don't think the market would be as high right now. It might be around 88k right now, actually. But who knows? Who knows? Kaspa were a top 5 one day. Oh, I don't see why not. Great narrative for younger people to invest in Generation Bitcoin. Just need awareness. Wish they would have had a tapering, low fee schedule so they could have money at the beginning of the market. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice, of course. It would have been very, very nice, but of course, that was not how it panned out, of course, with Kaspa. And that has caused a lot of miners now to shut off because the emissions fees are so aggressive. But you know, I'm still content with where Kaspa's at right now. I think we all at this point are just kind of waiting. Truth be told, we're just waiting for that move. When it does happen, I don't expect anything significant for the next weeks, months. Truth be told, you'll see Kaspa just following along with Bitcoin. You could see something around IGRA, but the main things that I think will cause Kaspa to move will be around the Fed, or Kaspa and the markets will be around the Fed chair change, midterms, and any other geopolitical tensions. To which you want to have live updates about that in real time, in more depth, with institutional analysis about that. Therefore, giving us more exact, more accurate zones. The VIP, check that out. Links down below in the description. 7-day free trial. Also a 1-month free trial through our exchange, our affiliate exchange, BYDFI, and you can find out about that in the physical server as well. More than welcome. So providing more insight to help make level up your crypto game and your crypto gains as well at the same time. But yeah, Kaspa is king. That was the main focus of today's stream. We'll see where it goes from here though. But thank you all very much for tuning in today. I know it's a very early stream, but I appreciate people who do tune in today. Vprogs being public now in the sense of documentation is massive, so we'll see what developments come through with that. Hopefully see it come through very quickly, because then we can see people come out quicker as well. And the hard fork come out sooner as well, which should be very beneficial for Kaspa. That being said, family, have a great day, good evening, good night. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe if you're new. That being said, I'll see you all tomorrow at the usual time. So take